Hey there, welcome to Mike's Collection, episode 248. I'm Mike, and the part of my collection that I'm going to be talking about today is all the figures that I've bought in 2023 so far. So I've been doing this YouTube channel for, I want to say 4 years now, and before that I was doing a toy blog. So pretty much since 2012, I have been doing my top toys of the year list every year at the end of the year. So last year, how I decided to do my video was I took all of the toys I bought in 2022 and I put them on my desk and I eliminated them one by one to get down to my top 20, which is the final list that I posted. I thought that might be a fun way to do it because what I do every year at the end of the year is I make a list of every toy I bought this year. And then I slowly hum and haw my way through it, and I eliminate figures. I get down to my top 20. I rank them, and I show you guys that finished product. And I thought you guys might enjoy actually seeing me hum and haw as I pick through it. And I think you guys did. I got a decent amount of views on those and some comments and all that sort of stuff. So I thought that's what I would do going forward. Plus it gives me an excuse to pull out all my new figures again. Because oftentimes I get a new figure, I play with it, I show you guys on video here, and I put it on my Instagram, and then it goes on the shelf, and then I don't see it again. I don't handle it maybe for months until I'm dusting or something. So this gives me an excuse to kind of revisit all of my recent purchases, and it's kind of fun to haul them out. However, last year, I bought 365 new action figures, and it was a lot of work to go into my shelves and pull out all of those figures, and I couldn't even fit them all on my desk for one video. So what I had to do is I broke it up into 7 videos where I eliminated all the figures. And I thought that was a lot. This room was a disaster at the end of the year last year because I pulled out all like 400 figures. They were all sitting on my floor, and I was putting them on my desk, and I was moving them as I was eliminating them, and it was a lot. So I thought going into 2023, what I would do is I would do those videos, those elimination videos, but I would do them quarterly. So here we are. As I sit down to film this, it is April 1st. So we have just passed through the first quarter. And as I said, last year, I ended up with 365 new action figures, which I thought was crazy. That's way too many action figures. That is literally an action figure a day. And that's too much. So I kind of made a promise to myself to not end up with 365 figures this year. However, here we are at the 3-month mark, and I think I have 96 figures to show you. So I'm not off to a good start, in that I have a lot of figures, more than I intended. I don't know if I'll be able to fit all 90 of them on my desk at once, but a lot of them are reaction figures, so I'm hoping that I can make them all fit. So that's what we're going to do today. So this is Quarter 1, the best of 2023. As I eliminate things, I won't have to haul them back out again for my best of the year list at the end of the year. So I'm hoping out of these 90 figures, I'll maybe whittle it down to say the 10 or 15 best, and those guys will advance to the end of the year. And I'll do this again every quarter. So then rather than have to shoot 7 videos with 400 action figures at the end of the year, I can do one final elimination to get down to my top 20, and then I will do my final top 20 video where I rank those 20. So I think that's all pretty self-explanatory. So why don't we jump right into it, because this elimination process can take a while. So here we go. Okay, so here is every action figure that I have purchased in the first quarter of 2023. So I did manage to get them all onto my desk. As you can see, there are a lot of reaction figures here at the front. But there's a good variety of stuff. Some Marvel, some G.I. Joe, some Transformers. So, the thing that I'm aiming to do at the end of the year is not do a list of the best action figures I bought in 2023, but the best action figures of 2023. So that automatically eliminates any action figure that was not released this year. So I have a few in here that you might spot right off the bat that are very easy eliminations because they basically don't qualify. Now, there's a couple others here that kind of walk that line because they were maybe released in 2022. Maybe they were released late in the year and I didn't get a chance to buy them. So in which case, I guess I would let them qualify for this year. It's hard to say. But anyway, I'm going to start with these guys here. These 4 G.I. Joes I bought at a toy show this year. They're all from the vintage G.I. Joe line from the late 80s and early 90s. So it was nice to be able to fill some holes in my collection, but none of these guys obviously would qualify as the best action figure of 2023. So they're gone. Now there is another one here. That figure back there of Scarlet, she's not as old as those guys, but she came out in 2009 with the live action Rise of Cobra movie. This is another figure I picked up at that same toy show, so she is also gonna go. Now, again, some toy show purchases here. I don't often buy 3 3/4 inch Star Wars figures, but these guys were so cheap, I couldn't pass on them. So I've got a couple of figures here from Rogue One, and I think that movie was 2014 or so. So this guy here was like Moroff, so he won't qualify. Over here, I have a couple of Rogue One troopers, so they also don't qualify, so we're going to get rid of them. This was another Star Wars guy from several years ago that I bought at the toy show for cheap, along with this Chewbacca. So they're all gone. And I think Reese here was the last one of my kind of vintage toy show purchases. All right, now Mr. Fantastic, he's the first figure to go down. I fully expect that at some point these guys are all going to topple over like dominoes. Hopefully we can avoid that for as long as possible. Now Mr. Fantastic here, these 3 3/4 inch Marvel Legends figures, they recently started showing up at the dollar store for $5 a piece, which is a great deal when you consider that they regularly sell here from, $20 to $25. Some places I've even seen them at $30. So $5 is a great deal. Now, they're really fun figures, but because I buy Marvel Legends in the 6-inch scale, I decided not to really go all in on this 3 3/4 inch line. However, for $5, I'll buy these guys all day long. So recently at the dollar store, I found Mr. Fantastic and Dark Phoenix and Falcon over here with his little bird Red Wing down on the floor. So I'm pretty sure all of those figures were released in 2022, so they wouldn't qualify. And even if they did come out this year, those are all figures that I passed on and I wouldn't have bought at regular retail. I only bought them because they were discounted. So they definitely wouldn't qualify as my best of the year anyway. Okay. So I think that's most of the easy knockoffs here. So let's take a look at some of these reaction figures up front. You'll notice I've got a bunch of Godzilla reaction figures. Now these guys here, I literally just opened like 5 minutes ago. So I haven't really had any time to kind of handle them and really see what I think. I just shot a little introduction video of them in the packaging, which will be my next video. However, I just wanted to shoot that so I could open them up for this video. So yeah, they're all pretty great. I wish I had a little bit more time to, fiddle around with them before I had to make this choice, but let's see. This guy here, this is another really new purchase for me. This is The Mummy. So this is, based on the Universal Pictures movie, the Boris Karloff version of The Mummy. Super 7 likes to reissue their action figures in lots of weird colors. For example, this glow-in-the-dark Godzilla. So yeah, this is, I forget what they referred to this figure as, like neon, glows in the light. He's kind of, he looks like a Jolly Rancher. It's kind of a fun little variant to add to my collection, but it's a repaint of a figure that I already have a couple of times, and it's not going to be an action figure of the year. This glow-in-the-dark Godzilla, he's probably going to fall into the same category, but he's a little more fun for me to look at. I really like this color scheme with the red lips look kind of funny on Godzilla, so I'm going to keep him around for a minute. This here is the G.I. Joe military police officer from the most recent wave of Super 7 G.I. Joe reaction figures. He's kind of a fun little oddity because he's a character that we never got in the vintage line. So I appreciate that they give us those figures, but he is not going to be a toy of the year for me. Really, any of these reaction figures, they've got a real uphill battle to climb if they want to be a toy of the year. Because like Tomax and Xamot, I love these characters. These are the Crimson Twins. They're mirror images of each other. Tomax, which is the one without the scar. Like when we were kids, me and my brother, we split this 2-pack of figures. So I had Tomax without the scar. He had Xamot with the scar. So I've always liked Tomax better of the two. And last year, we got these figures in the 6-inch classified version, and Tomax made my best of the year list. So I really do love these guys. I love their design. But the reaction figures are they're really simple. And even though I love having them, it's pretty hard for them to beat a more detailed action figure like this for a toy of the year. So I think Tomax and Xamot are going to go. Similarly with Transformers, I think these are a lot of fun, but the lack of detail really makes them tough to push through. Wreck-Gar has never been a favorite character of mine, so I'm going to get rid of him. This is Raven from the G.I. Joe line. She's a character we never got before. She was from one specific episode. Again, I think it's great that Super 7 gives these to us, but she's not my toy of the year. Cyclonus and Ultra Magnus, they're both a lot of fun, but I'm going to eliminate them. Let's scroll over here. Some more G.I. Joes. So this is a G.I. Joe in camo. He's just like an unnamed trooper. Again, Super 7 has given us lots of these guys. I think that's really cool. But I think that figure was actually a 2022 release. I held off on him, and I bought him this year when I got him on a little bit of a sale. So he wouldn't have made it anyway, but I also don't think he qualifies. Now there's another version of the Cobra Trooper. I love the Cobra Trooper. Especially the reaction figures. I think these guys look really great in this format. But this is some weird new camo design that Super 7 just created, basically as an excuse to get more money out of me. And while I appreciate the that they created something new, it's kind of ugly. I don't really like that camo, so I would much prefer Cobra Trooper in the original colors, so I'll pass on him. Now the one G.I. Joe that might stand a chance to last a little bit longer is this guy here. This is Red Laser, and he's got a whole unique backstory I won't get into here, but I talked about it when I reviewed that whole wave of figures, so you can go back and find that video if you want. For the reaction Godzillas, again, I've only handled these guys for a minute, but there was 2 new Godzillas in this wave. So this is Godzilla from, I think, one of the movies in the 60s, and then we also got the Godzilla from 1984. And they're both a lot of fun. I'm going to review these guys in detail in my next video. But as fun as these guys are, I got 2 Godzilla reaction figures last year. These guys aren't different enough to really stand out. So, not to say that one of the other creatures, like Hedorah here, might go through, but not the Godzillas. Also for Transformers, I've got the Sharkticon here, which is like super cute, and the Quintesson. They're both much more unique than the other Transformers, and I think the Sharkticon will stick around for a moment, but the Quintesson, as fun as he is with all of his 5 different faces, yeah, he's not toy of the year for me, so he's going to go. Then we got Vincent Price. So this is a fun figure. He came with a raven to sit on his arm. It's actually a pretty good likeness to Vincent Price, I think. But, again, just not toy of the year for me. He can't compete with, all the aliens and monsters and all the other stuff I've got here. The Crow. This is my all-time favorite movie. And Mezco, with their line of figures called 5 Points, they made a 2-pack of Crow figures. Oops. So here are the 2 figures in the line, and they've got interchangeable arms and legs, so you can kind of change their pose. But otherwise, they just have 5 points of articulation, hence the name. These guys are cool. But they're kind of oddities in my collection because I don't really have any other figures that quite scale to them. Like, I have lots of other 3 3/4 inch figures, such as all those reaction figures I just talked about. But if I bring a Red Laser here and put them next to him, you can see they just don't look like they belong in the same world. So when I bought these Crow figures, as much as I appreciated the detail, I kind of hoped I could display them with my reaction figures, but I just really don't think that I can. So I already have a Crow in the Hot Toys line, which is a 12-inch super detailed Crow figure. So as great as these guys are, I think they're just a little bit diminished because I have better versions of the Crow in my collection already. So we're going to get rid of them. So we've cleared out most of the small figures from up front. There's still a couple that I have to think on a little bit longer. This is the Nothosaurus. This is a Jurassic World figure. I thought he was a cool looking dinosaur, kind of a unique shaped head with a really cool like big jaw there. But yeah, he was just a fun little cheap figure I picked up. Not toy of the year by any means. This Spawn figure is actually really great. I really appreciate the kind of the classic look to him. You know, you got the big old glove, the big old boot. Very cool. I had a Spawn action figure be in my top 20, I think it was 2 years ago when I bought the Kickstarter Spawn. This guy's a lot more accessible. Like, he's funner to play with, where the other version was almost more like a statue. He could have potentially made it through, but this was a 2022 release, and I could have bought it in 2022, but I did pass on it for a while. So really, he shouldn't qualify for this year's list, so I'm going to move him out of here. You see we've got a couple of Action Force figures in here. They were all really great, so they're probably going to stick around for a while. King Hiss. So there's only a couple of Masters of the Universe figures that I've got here so far. King Hiss is a great character. This is him in his snake form. He has like a human shell that you can pop this snake torso off and give him his human form. It's a figure that I had as a kid. I was stoked to get him again in the new, the Origins line. But these Origins figures, they almost fall in the same category as like the reaction figures do. They're simple, like they're intentionally simple. They're supposed to be nostalgic and retro, but a figure like that, like when you look at just the color of the plastic, there's not a whole lot of paint detail or anything. And trying to compare it to a figure like this, it's just it's apples and oranges. So I'm afraid King Hiss is going to have to go. I think the only other two Masters of the Universe guys I have in here, from the Origins line anyway, are these two weirdos. So these guys come from the Sunman kind of sub-series within Masters of the Universe. So this is Boltman in blue and Space Sumo. So it's fun to get new characters, and I like both these guys more than I thought I would, but neither of them are Toy of the Year for me, so we're going to get rid of them. Alright, what else we got here? Here's a couple more that are automatic disqualifications. So this year, there was a new Dark Phoenix figure that I thought I was going to buy because I passed on the original release from several years ago, and I kind of have regretted it ever since. But at my local comic shop, somebody traded in the old version of Dark Phoenix, and I was able to get her for a pretty good price, and I didn't bother to buy the new version because of that. So the 2-pack was Dark Phoenix along with Cyclops over here. But these figures, I think it was 2017 maybe that these figures came out. So yeah, so they're going to go. I have lots of other Marvel Legends in here. Some pretty great ones. There's still a few more figures I think that came out last year that probably should get disqualified, but like these Superman figures. So I've got Warworld Superman here in his kind of gladiator outfit, and then I've got kind of evil possessed Superman from the Hush storyline. These are both from McFarlane Toys. I think technically they came out last year. Like if you look for video reviews of these guys on YouTube, you will find some of them dated from several months ago. So I think they just showed up in stores around here right around Christmas time. I didn't get them until this year. They're both nice figures, but I think they're both going to have to get eliminated / disqualified. This Superman here, I think we're going to get again later this year with the unpossessed face. And so if I pick that one up, maybe he'll stand a better chance at Toy of the Year. But for now, these Supermen are going to go. Now, if we go back to Masters of the Universe for a second, besides the Origins line, which I collect, there's also the Revelation line, and they're pretty cool, but I'm not really collecting that line, just because they're too similar in many ways to the Masters of the Universe Classics figures that I collected a few years ago. But I do buy them when I find that they're different. And this here is a version of Eva Lynn based on her new look from the Netflix series where she's got this bat cowl. And I thought she looked really great in this look in the cartoon, so I made sure to buy this figure when it came out this year. However, I thought they really executed her body very poorly. She's supposed to have this kind of like, I guess, lacy lingerie type outfit on, but the way they just painted it on her very sloppily, it just looks kind of cheap. So even though I like the head sculpt and I like kind of the cloth cape and everything, she's not going to be a toy of the year for me. And while I'm eliminating her, I might as well mention I also got Tila. I thought this was a really cool figure, and the fact that she has alternate heads, I've got her displayed here with her, I guess what you would call her alternate head, because it's her hair is down. Usually Tila has her hair up in most action figures. I thought about buying this one when it came out last year, but I didn't, just because it wasn't different enough. However, I got her on sale this year, and I think she's definitely a nice figure, and I'm glad I did pick her up. I think it's a beautiful head sculpt and a nice figure otherwise, but she is a 2022 release, so she's disqualified as well. So I'm going to tuck my reaction figures over here for now, so I can focus on some of the bigger, more detailed figures. Dr. Aphra here. So she is a Star Wars character that's based on the Marvel comic books. It's a really nice figure, but it's basically a figure I already had in my collection. They just added some new parts, like they gave her the coat that she didn't have before and everything. So it's a nice figure, but it's just too similar to the one that I had in my collection previously, so she's going to go. There's two other Star Wars Black Series figures here. So there's Mara Jade. So she's pretty cool. A simple figure, like there's not much to her outfit or anything. It's a nice head sculpt. I don't know a whole lot about the character. She's from like the expanded universe. So yeah, she's nice and all, but realistically, I don't think she can compete with all these like G.I. Joes and everything that I have here. So it's a nice figure, but it's a little too basic. And maybe it's partly because I'm a little bored of Star Wars right now. Like, they're not giving us anything new and exciting. It seems like every couple of months they're announcing new Marvel Legends and new G.I. Joes and new Transformers, all things to get me excited, but Star Wars is just kind of trickling out. And there's the other Star Wars figure I have in here. Try and get him out without making a big mess. This is the Biker Scout, and this is the Holiday Edition. So you can see he's got a little Baby Yoda sweater on, and he's got his little Grogu in his Santa sack. So this is obviously a fun repaint of the standard Biker Scout. I already have a bunch of these Holiday Stormtroopers in my collection, so I was happy to add this guy. But obviously he came out before Christmas. I just didn't get a chance to get him until this year. So because he was a 2022 release, I'm going to disqualify him. And I really don't think he would have advanced anyway because of his, his novelty paint job. It's fun, but it's not exactly cool and best of the year material. So we'll get rid of him. So maybe we'll talk about Transformers for a second. I didn't get a whole lot of Transformers yet this year. The ones I did get are all pretty cool. I'm going to start talking about RC, or not, I keep calling her RC because she's got RC's colors. But this is Alita 1. So this is a really nice figure. When I bought her this year, I thought she was a new figure for 2023. I didn't realize until later that she was actually released in 2022. I had never seen her in stores anywhere last year, but I could have bought her online, I guess, if I'd wanted to. So she's really nice. I was really impressed with this sculpt and everything. I like the colors of her. She's a very cute little toy, but she's disqualified because she was released last year. And I think similarly, this one is kind of walking the line. This here is Override. I think she was a Walmart exclusive, at least here in Canada. It's a nice figure. I thought she was kind of overpriced. I've been seeing her around for a while at $45, and then she finally went on sale for $30 the other day, and I pulled the trigger. So she's a cool figure, but again, I think she was released last year. And even if she hadn't been, I don't think she would qualify just because, she's nice, but I don't know anything about this character. I don't have any history with it. Whereas some of the other figures that I'm going to show you, I have a little bit more of an attachment to. So we're going to get rid of her. Next, I'll talk about Needle Nose here, I guess. This guy, I don't know a ton about him. The original Needle Nose came out after I'd stopped buying Transformers as a kid. And it's a pretty basic figure, but I do really like this guy. I love his kind of like medieval helmet design and stuff. So he might stick around for a little while. I'm not going to just throw him away so quickly. Metal Hawk. This is a character I just got this figure a little while ago. Oh, and I just saw another Star Wars guy hiding back there. Anyway, so Metal Hawk. This is a character I'd never had before. Again, the original one came out after I'd stopped buying them as a kid, but I kind of got to know this character through the comic books, and I came to like him, so I was happy to get this toy. But the thing that really holds this one back, I think, is that flat gray they used, like on his legs and on his guns here and everything. I think if they, like some chrome metal would have been really nice, but even if they just used like a nicer gray, like another figure that we're maybe going to talk about here in a minute. So this is Twin Cast. Like that silver metal they use on his head. Like it's not, it doesn't shine or reflect or anything, but it's so much better than this dull, plasticky looking gray that we have on Metal Hawk. So I think that's what hurts him the most. And also that I don't really have too much personal nostalgic attachment to that character. So he's going to go. Twin Cast I like a lot. So even though I can't quite get to him in the back, he is going to stick around a little while. I also have Turn back there. He's very cool, so he's going to stick around. I think that might be it for Transformers. So yeah, let's talk about this other Star Wars guy that I forgot about. This is, I think his name's Echo. Is that who this is? He's one of the Bad Batch guys. And I'll be honest, when this figure came out, and I think he did come out this year, he might have been last year, so maybe he should be disqualified anyway. I don't know. But I just got him this year. And I didn't really want to buy him. I'll be honest. I'm a little burnt out on Star Wars, but I have the other members of the Bad Batch, so I kind of felt like I needed him to complete my team, so I picked him up. And it is a nice figure. Don't get me wrong. He's got a removable helmet, which is pretty cool. He's got this like hand attachment. It's a nice figure, nice paint and everything. It's not his fault that I'm kind of bored of Star Wars, but he's not going to be Toy of the Year for me, so we're going to eliminate him. Now, you might be thinking that I'm kind of avoiding talking about these G.I. Joes and Action Force figures, which are kind of front and center here. I'm really not. It's just that they're all so good that I feel they're going to make it to the end. At least most of them will. So I'm going to kind of talk about them later. My Marvel Legends, they're kind of sneaking around in the back here. Lots of really nice Marvel Legends figures. And most of these I just got in the last couple of weeks. It was a really slow start for Marvel Legends this year. But I got this X-Men 5-pack with Strife and everything that was really cool. And then I just got this new wave of figures. I guess you could say they were kind of Avengers-based with Cap and Iron Man there. And it was the Puff Adder Build-A-Figure there. So, some nice figures, but also a lot of easy eliminations in there, I'm afraid. So like this Captain America. It's a really nice Captain America, but it's not as nice as the Captain America I got last year, which was, I think they called it the 80th anniversary version. So even though this is really sharp, he's got darker colors than the one released last year. He's got an alternate angry head, which I like and everything. It's just, he was already kind of shown up last year by the other version, so he's going to go. Pretty Boy here from the X-Men box set. It's nice to get a unique character like him in here, but he's kind of a weird design with his kind of gangly robot body and then Pretty Boy face on there. He's just never a character that really spoke to me, so we're going to get rid of him too, I think. Wonder Man and Random. Let's talk about both these douchebags and their sunglasses. Neither of these guys have been characters that I ever really cared that much about. I really know nothing about Random. I don't think I've ever read a comic book with him in it, and his costume is just so ridiculously 90s with his tattoos and his barbed wire and his sunglasses and bandana. He's just cheesy badass. So I'm going to get rid of him. And Wonder Man, he's not really a badass. He's just cheesy. Now, this is a character who's had multiple costumes over the years. I've never really liked any of them. If I was going to get a Wonder Man figure, I guess this is the look I would want for him. This is the one I kind of think of the most, I suppose. So it's not a bad figure at all. Like, I think it's a nice head sculpt. I think he moves well. He's painted well. He's just not a character I like. So maybe I'm not being super objective, but this is my list and I can do what I want with it. So because I don't really care about this character, he's going to go. Baron von Strucker. Again, super cool figure, actually. This is one with a lot of cool detail on here. Let me just zoom out here a little bit so we can see him. So, I like his whole deal. I like the monocle on the head, the scar on the faces. He's cool. But he's not a character that I have a whole lot of attachment to. So, he's maybe one of the best figures, maybe the best figure of that wave. But I'm going to eliminate him. Molecule Man over here. He's a loser. I never liked this character, and I don't like this toy. I only bought him because I needed to get the Build-A-Figure part so I could finish my my Puff Adder figure. So, again, objectively, it's a well-made figure. It looks like the character, although I find he looks kind of young. I feel Molecule Man should look older than this, so maybe he doesn't even really look like the character. Anyway, he's an easy elimination for me. Perhaps the easiest elimination on this whole table. We've got Terax over there. He's awesome. He's pretty much going to go through. Iron Man. This is Iron Man is Extremis armor. Or Extremis armor. I don't know how you pronounce it. It is a nice Iron Man figure. He moves well. He's sculpted well. He came with all the appropriate repulsor ray accessories and all that sort of stuff. But it's just a little bit of a been there, done that. I have so many Iron Mans that he just doesn't really excite me that much anymore. So I'm going to eliminate him. The Build-A-Figure Puff Adder, he's going to stick around for a while. I wanted this guy so much that I spent way more money on figures that I wouldn't have bought otherwise, like the Captain America, like the Molecule Man. So yeah, he's worth sticking around for. Strife, we'll keep him around for a little while. X-Men villain, he's cool. Here's some more Marvel villains. Let's start with this guy here. This is the Fallen One. He came in a 2-pack with Terax. He's a very boring figure. If I bring him out of here, we'll showcase him a little bit. He is just a plain blue naked guy. And he's got some translucent, kind of sparkly hair. He is a cosmic villain. He has fought like the Silver Surfer and stuff before. And for that reason, I probably would have bought this guy, even if they sold him in a standalone package. But I mostly got him because he came packaged with Terax, so I kind of had to get him. But whether I would have bought him single pack or not it doesn't change the fact that he would not be a toy of the year. He's just way too plain. Now Vertigo here, I just recently reviewed Vertigo. I did a whole video review of this box set of X-Men villains with my friend Scott. And he was surprised when I told him that this was the figure I was most excited about from the whole box set, mostly because Vertigo is the character I was most excited about. And character for me sometimes trumps the actual construction of a figure. And I thought Vertigo looked really good. It was only after I shot that video that I found out that her face is just a repainted Invisible Woman head. And while I don't necessarily fault Hasbro for reusing parts like that, I feel like this character was such a simple design. Her whole body is reused parts. They really could have given her her own face. Scott even commented that he didn't think this looked like Vertigo because her cheekbones should have been a little sharper and all that stuff. So knowing now that they just repainted Invisible Woman, I feel a little duped by this figure. So I'm happy to have gotten this figure, but I wish she had more original parts. So I'm going to eliminate her. Zero, this is another figure that he's so simple, but he's cool. He's a character that I wanted for a while. He's from the old Rob Liefeld days of the New Mutants comic book. And he's cool. He's well made. They picked a good base body to put this guy on. But he is ultimately a blank figure with a couple of circles painted on him. So I really can't see him making it to my best of the year list. So, it's not an easy elimination, but it is an elimination nonetheless. So I think the only two Marvel Legends that I haven't addressed here yet are the Orb and Yelena Belova, the Black Widow. Now, this is another figure I would not have bought if I didn't need to get the piece to build the Puff Adder Build-A-Figure. But I am impressed with her more than I thought I would be. I thought that head design was a really ugly choice when I saw it advertised, but it actually looks kind of cool in person. And even though her body, I'm sure, is mostly just reused parts, it works. Like, it's a well-made body, and yeah, it's a pretty good figure. But Character-wise, look-wise, it's not the look I would have went with for this character. Anyway, she's going to get eliminated, but she's not as bad as I thought she'd be. Orb, I think he's probably going to stick around. He's such a weird character, this Ghost Rider villain with just a big eyeball for a head. He's not perfect either. I feel his body is made up of using parts that are several years old now. Like, he feels a little dated, even though he's a brand new figure. And I don't know if it's comic book accurate or not, but I really don't like how he's got this flesh-colored, like, human neck that goes into the eyeball. I think it's weird. I think maybe if his neck was just black or something, it would look better, but yeah, it's extra creepy that way. But regardless, it's just based on the character, I think he's going to stick around a little bit longer. All right, so maybe now we should take a closer look at some of these G.I. Joe and Action Force figures. Okay, so you can see I've got quite a bit of 6-inch military figures here. Half of them are Action Force, which is a line put out by Valaverse. And they're very, very cool. If you're not familiar with them, I would say check out valaverse.com and take a look at some of these figures. And then over here, I've got Hasbro's G.I. Joes. Now, it might be a little confusing to tell which is which because you can see here I've got a lot of my G.I. Joes on Action Force stands. Every Action Force figure comes with one of these display bases, but they also sell loose stands on their website, and I have bought some loose stands to help my G.I. Joes to stand up. Because most G.I. Joe figures do not come with a display base, and they fall over, and it's really annoying. So, yeah, these bases work pretty good for them. Anyway, let's start with some of the Joes here. So, right up front, I've got Lieutenant Falcon. Now, this was a character I was excited to get. This guy was featured prominently in the G.I. Joe animated cartoon. And you can probably tell that this guy is ugly as all hell. This is not a good head sculpt for this guy, and not a good paint job. And the combination of both just make for a really ugly figure. Like, I think if this guy didn't have those kind of bright pink lips, it might help a little bit, but it's just, it makes his kind of big mouth kind of that much more prominent. It's just, it's not great. So yeah, Hasbro's usually been doing a really good job on their classified figures, but sometimes this, the face printing and everything doesn't pay off. I don't like these kind of pink lips that they've been giving characters like Dusty and Falcon here. So, yeah, he's going to get eliminated. Now, CoverGirl, I would have thought for sure she would be a character that would go through. And maybe she will. I was really excited about this figure. This is a character I really wanted to get in the classified line. But I feel they went overboard on her face as well. Like her makeup seems a little heavy. And another issue is her arms. Like, look at her arms here. She's just in resting mode, and yet her arms, both of them, they just kind of look like they're about to fall off. They're connected very weird. So that's a big strike against this figure. But I'm not ready to cut her just yet. Recondo, he's great. Now, this is a guy I'm a little bit torn on because this is Recondo in his Tiger Force colors. I think when we get the version 1 colors, I'll definitely prefer that one. So knowing that there's a better one on its way kind of makes me want to eliminate this figure for now. But it's such a good figure. The head sculpt's really good. So yeah, we'll hold on to him. This Python Patrol Viper, he's cool. But I always thought the Python Patrol colors, I think I said Viper. He's a Cobra officer. I thought these colors are kind of ugly. I'm happy we got this figure, but he's not Toy of the Year for me. So we're going to get rid of him. Duke, the original Duke figure was my Toy of the Year a couple of years ago, and he still looks great in his Tiger Force colors. So, plus he came with a really cool motorcycle, which would bump him up some, so I'm not going to eliminate him yet. Outback, we got the Tiger Force version of him last year. It is a really great figure. This is one of the better ones of the wave. Like I said, I was kind of disappointed in some of the face printing on Falcon and CoverGirl. And also, he looks quite a bit different than his Tiger Force version. Like, he's got different color hair and all that stuff. Whereas the Cobra Inferno Bat here, or the Crimson Bat, I think they call it, and Barbecue in his Marauders colors, they're both really nice figures, but they are just repaints of figures that I got last year. The Bat, I already have it in 2 different color schemes. So for that reason, I think the Bat has got to go. He's really cool. I like the red look on him, but he's just not He's just not unique enough. Cover girl went down. Bazooka, he's a really nice figure, but later this year we're going to get the standard color Bazooka. So I think for that reason, he'll probably go. Yeah. I like this guy a lot, but I definitely will prefer the basic colors, so I think I'm going to get rid of him. And same as Barbecue. This is a really great figure, and he actually looks really good in these colors. He looks better than I thought he would in the Marauders colors. I've always been a fan of his version 1 kind of orange outfit. But, yeah. As great as this figure is, it's just not going to be Toy of the Year, I don't think, just because he is a character that we already got just last year. Okay, as always, I'm running kind of long on these videos, so I should probably start speeding things up. This here is one of the Action Force figures. This is Blowback. And he's a cool figure with lots of cool little details on his outfit. He's made up of parts we've seen before on other figures. It's really cool. He comes with an alternate head, like a masked head, which is probably the better head because I think this guy, the digital face printing on him didn't come out so good. It's a little weird too. Anyway, he's a little too basic military for me. He's not very exciting. So he's going to go. And also over here, the Swarm Trooper was one of my best of the year a couple of years ago. And this is the third repaint of that. The original one was yellow and black, like Bumblebee. Then we got a kind of green version. And now we've got the black and gold version. It's still a great figure. And this color scheme looks really great. But at this point, it's, we've got it in this figure enough times now that it's kind of bumped down. The cool factor has diminished a little bit. So still really cool, definitely worth buying, but not Toy of the Year for me anymore. So now let's focus on Wave 3. Those two figures there were from what they called the Special Deployment Wave, which was a small wave of figures in between Wave 2 and 3. Wave 3 was the all-female wave of figures. And it was a really impressive set. I bought the whole thing here, except for, well, there was a couple of nameless troopers. I didn't buy them. But I did get Pandora here. And you can see she's got this blood spatter all over her. This was a website exclusive. You could only get it on the Valaverse website. The standard version of Pandora is right here. I bought that one as well. She actually came with the exact same vest and like neckerchief and everything. I just took it off of this version to kind of differentiate the two of them on my shelf. Then I've got the female Steel Brigade Trooper over here. Kill Switch. Really nice head sculpt on her with these kind of eerie eyes. She's got a little nose ring there. She looks great. And then we've got Eclipse, who's also got a really nice head sculpt here. She's got like a little braid in her hair and all that stuff. Some cool accessories. She's got an alternate like masked head. All looks really great. Of these figures, I think the three named characters are for sure qualifiers for Toy of the Year for me. They're all going to go through. The Steel Brigade figure, even though it's really nice, it's we've already got so many Steel Brigade figures in this line. They were all male before, so this is kind of like a more petite version. So it's cool, but it's not as unique. It feels a little bit of been there, done that. So I'm going to get rid of her. And if I had to choose which version of Pandora would make it through, because I'm not going to put both versions on my best of the year list. They're both really nice. I think I'm going to keep the bloody version, though, and let the standard version go. Okay, so we've done a lot of eliminations, but there's still quite a few of them left. Let's try and do some quick eliminations here. King Ghidorah, very cool, but if I was able to eliminate the 5 points Mezco version that I got last year, I don't see how this one can survive, and that one couldn't. So he's going to go. Sharkticon, we'll stick around with him for now. Red Laser, he's kind of unique. Hedorah, he's such a cool, fun design. Glow-in-the-Dark Godzilla. I really do like this guy. He's such a cool look, but Toy of the Year? Oh, man. I don't know. Like I said, I just opened this figure up a couple minutes ago, so I'm really digging it right now. Maybe after I spend a day with it, my enthusiasm will cool down. But right now, I like so many of these Godzilla figures. Ghost Rider, he comes with that little motorcycle, so that's really cool too. I don't think I talked about him at all yet, but he's also from Hasbro's 3 3/4 inch Marvel Legends line. It's the first one to come with a vehicle, I think, so he's just really cool. Needle Nose, he's going to go. As much as it's a cool toy, but I think I've got better Transformers here. So Pandora, she's a lock. All these Action Force girls are a lock, so they're all sticking around. The Orb and Puff Adder, they're sticking around for now. Terrax, he's definitely going through. These Sex Pistol reaction figures, I haven't had a chance to talk about them yet. I'm going to open them up, but I haven't had a chance yet. I just got them in the same box as I got the Godzilla figures in, and I just haven't had a chance to open them. They're both fun. I am a fan of the Sex Pistols. So, yeah, these are cool. I'm glad they made them. But they feel kind of weird to me, too. And I'll probably talk about this when I review them individually. But they almost look more in line with that, like, Crow figure from 5 Points. Like, they don't seem to have that same, like, body type that you expect on a reaction figure. Like, their legs seem longer. Their torsos are skinnier. So, I don't know. I don't know if that means they're going to change the way they do reaction figures and make them all a little bit more unique. But, anyway, these guys aren't Toy of the Year for me, I don't think. As fun as they are, I don't think the likenesses are great, necessarily. Anyway, so we're going to get rid of them. What else? Destro. So this is just Destro that came out on a retro card. It's basically the same figure that I got last year or 2 years ago now. He was part of the G.I. Joe Classified, like, Wave 1. I think they did improve on the original with this figure. They've fixed some of the paint apps. And obviously the retro card is cooler looking than the old box. But he's so similar to the previous release. That's why I didn't bother to open him. I usually open up all my toys. But this one here, I thought, well, what's the point of having two figures that look almost identical on the shelf next to each other? So I just kept this guy carded for now. But yeah, he's not unique enough, I think, to make it as a Toy of the Year. Plus, if I'm being honest, I think he might have actually been released in 2022. So he might be disqualified anyway. All right. Strife, he's going to get through. Tarn, I didn't really talk about him at all, but he's awesome. I think he's one of the best Transformer figures Hasbro's done in a while. He's going through. Same as I haven't talked about Warduke here. So this is a Dungeons and Dragons figure from NECA. He's very cool. Lots of cool detail. Lots of cool weapons. He's got a real metal chain there where his sword is attached. He's got this flaming sword accessory. He's very cool, and I'm pretty sure he's going to go through. You know what? It's kind of weird. Like, I love Hasbro's G.I. Joe line. They're probably my favorite toy line to collect right now. But all four of these guys could go. And it's not that they're bad figures. It's just that I know we've got a better Recondo coming later in the original colors. Duke, I've already kind of given him his props when he was my Toy of the Year a couple of years ago. And even though I like these colors, it does lose the newness factor a little bit. Outback, we got the secondary version of Outback last year, so now we do have the better version, which is exactly what I was talking about with Recondo. But I don't know. Since I've had the Tiger Force version for a few months now, his newness factor has kind of just went down a little bit. And then CoverGirl, you know, she's the only character here that's the first time we're getting her and everything, and she's unique, and we're not going to get a repaint of her anytime soon, I don't think. But she's just got a couple of flaws there that hold her back. This Unicron here, I haven't talked about him yet, but this is a reaction figure, so he's supposed to be in the 3 3/4 inch scale. The reason he's so big is because he transforms into a planet, or he would if he actually transformed. He's kind of goofy looking, but he's based on an old prototype that was never produced in the 80s, so he's kind of got this whole kind of cool nostalgic factor with him. I talked a little bit about Twincast and his little buddy Rewind or Eject. I can never remember which one. This is a great figure. The Blaster figure, which was a red version of this toy, actually made my best of the year list last year. So I obviously love this figure, and I just think he looks really sharp in these colors. And then lastly, we have the Phantom back there from Boss Fight Studio. I love the character of the Phantom. I've gotten quite a few Phantom figures this past year, both from Boss Fight Studios and from NECA. This guy here I might open up eventually, but I haven't yet. And as cool as he is, I love the style of him, that kind of old school, like DC Superpowers style figure. and like kind of the simple sculpt on him. He's really nice. But considering that the NECA figure was one of my best of the year, I think just last year, I'm a little over phantomed these days. So I'm going to eliminate him as well, I think. All right, so let me do a reshuffle and a recount and see where I'm at here. Okay, so we made it down from 90-something figures down to, I think I've got 21 here. So that's not too bad. So if I only end up with 20 figures from each of these videos, I should be left with 80 figures to choose from at the end of the year, which I think is pretty reasonable. But yeah, I don't know. I think as excited as I am to get the orb as a figure, I think his old dated parts that they used to build him, I think he's gonna go. He's a cool figure. I'm glad we got him. So those guys are a lock. Puff Adder, Terrax, Morduke, Twincast, Unicron. You know what, CoverGirl? I can't. It's as much as the face I struggled with. It's those arms. I think that I can't push her through with those arms. So yeah, CoverGirl's gonna go. Keep Outback. I think Rakondo, just because it's not because it is Tiger Force colors and not the original design. I think the original Rakondo will have a much better chance when he eventually shows up. So I'm going to eliminate him for now. Strife, stick around. The girls for sure. Hedera, Red Laser, Godzilla, Ghost Rider. And you know what? I think lastly I'm going to get rid of the Sharkticon. He's cool. He's cute. But even amongst these reaction figures, I think he's my least favorite of them. And I already know that most of these reaction figures aren't going to make it to the end. So I think I might as well just get rid of him now. And so there we go. That's my final, 15 or so that will move through to my next round that we'll do, 3 months from now. Or I don't quite know how I'm going to do this. I don't think I'll bring these guys back for that next round. These guys basically make it through to the end of the year. So I'll push these guys through. We'll see them again in December when I'm doing my best of the year video. But yeah, so I think that's it. So that was my first quarter best of the year. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to like and comment. I'm really curious with these videos specifically, if you guys agree. Like, was there something that I maybe overlooked, didn't give enough credit to, or is there something that you feel I gave way too much credit to? I don't know. So I'm curious what you think of my eliminations. Make sure to come back in 3 months' time for my next elimination video. But I'm sure I'll have plenty of videos in the meantime. I try and get a new video up pretty much every week. So if this is by any chance your first chance finding me, your first time finding me, then make sure to come back next week for my next video. So I'll see you then. Thank you for watching.